All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into something really fascinating, a powerful lost manuscript from none other than Betty Friedan. You know, the author of The Feminine Mystique, the book that basically ignited a revolution. Well, decades later, she spotted a brand new problem, a new trap for a whole new generation of women. And she gave it a name, the New Mystique. So what kicked this whole thing off? It was this one question, a really powerful one, asked to an older Betty Friedan by a young, successful woman. I mean, this woman had it all, right? The career, the education, the independence, everything her mother's generation had fought for. And yet, she felt empty. She felt like her whole life was a performance. And that question, why do I feel like this? It really stuck with Friedan. And thinking about it led Friedan to a pretty startling conclusion. That old problem that has no name, the one that trapped all those housewives back in the 60s, well, it hadn't gone away. Not at all. It had just evolved. It shape-shifted into something new, something maybe even more sneaky for a modern world. So here's how Friedan breaks it down, and it's a really sharp contrast. Think about the old feminine mystique. That was like a gilded cage, right? Confining women to the home, telling them their whole purpose was to be a perfect housewife. But this new mystique? It's a digital cage. It doesn't tell you to stay home. No, it tells you you can have it all. The catch? You have to turn your entire life into this perfect, polished image online, a constant performance for everyone to see and judge. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this new gilded cage. What exactly is it made of? Well, as Friedan put it, its bars are made of light, data, and a whole lot of social pressure. You know, the rise of social media back in the 2000s was the perfect storm for this new mystique to take hold. I mean, think about it. These platforms, they aren't just about connecting with friends anymore, are they? They're stages. We're all on display. And they force us into this constant self-presentation. The really crucial part is how they measure our worth in likes, shares, followers. It literally turns our social lives into this nonstop, high-stakes game. And this really gets to the heart of it. The new mystique is so tricky because it doesn't tell you not to be ambitious. Instead, it kind of weaponizes your ambition. It says, go for it, be a CEO, be a supermom, be a marathon runner, have a perfect relationship. But you also have to perform every single one of those roles perfectly, online for everyone to see. Your life, it stops being just your life. It becomes the product you're constantly selling. Friedan really brings this to life with the story of a marketing professional she calls Maria. Just look at her morning. It's not a personal routine, it's a content creation shift before her real job even starts. Her workout, her makeup, her outfit, even her commute, every single moment is a potential post. It's all a performance, curated for this invisible audience where her worth for the day is basically measured in likes and engagement. And a psychological toll, it's just huge. Maria's quote here really says it all. The line between who she really is and the person she performs online gets so blurry that she feels like she literally doesn't exist without that constant validation. It's like her entire sense of self-worth has been outsourced to the internet. So you gotta ask, how does this system keep its grip on us? How does it keep us on this treadmill? Well, this whole performance culture is fueled by something Friedan called the optimization imperative. And it's a really seductive but also really dangerous idea. Okay, here's the trap, and it's a clever one. The message we get is, hey, you're free. All those old barriers for women, they're gone. So if you're feeling burned out, anxious, or like you just can't keep up with having it all, the logic says it must be, well, it must be your fault, right? You're just not managing your time right, or doing enough self-care, or optimizing yourself properly. It's a genius way to take huge systemic problems and make them feel like individual, personal failings. And Friedan's point is that this whole thing is basically a rigged game. We're told to lean in, right? To push harder at the table. But the table we're leaning into, it was designed by and for men, with the built-in assumption that every one of them had a wife at home handling, well, everything else. The fundamental rules of the game haven't really changed, just the people who are now expected to play it. So if the game is rigged, what exactly are these big structural problems that this whole just try harder mindset helps to hide? Well, Friedan points to some really big ones. First up is what she calls the care crisis, and this chart really puts it into perspective. Look at the US compared to other developed countries. When it comes to things like paid parental leave, universal childcare, or support for taking care of aging parents, we're way, way behind. What that means is that American women are basically left to solve this huge structural problem all on their own, family by family. And that is just exhausting.
It's an impossible task. And this structural gap actually has a name in economics. They call it the motherhood penalty. The data on this is just undeniable. When women have children, their careers and their earnings often take a major hit. But get this, when men become fathers, they often get a fatherhood bonus, an increase in their earnings. It's the exact same life event, but with totally opposite economic outcomes. That tells you everything you need to know about how the system is wired.
And this all leads us to the real human cost. It's summed up perfectly in this quote from Jennifer, a doctor who, from the outside, has it all. She's successful, she's done everything right. But the sheer weight of performing at that high level while also shouldering this massive, invisible, unsupported burden of care, it's brought her to the brink. That bone-deep exhaustion she feels, that's not a personal failing. That is the direct result of a failing system.
And that really brings us to the single most important point in Frieden's whole argument, that feeling of failing, that anxiety, that absolute exhaustion that so many women are experiencing. It's not you. It's not a personal flaw. It is the completely logical, totally predictable result of trying to win a game that's rigged against you. Okay, so if the system is the problem, where do we even begin to fix it? For Frieden, the answer is clear. This revolution isn't over. And the first step, always, is to wake up. To simply name the problem. To see the cage for what it really is. She lays out a whole path forward. And it's brilliant, because it moves from the inside out. Step 1, name the new mystique. Just call it what it is and stop blaming yourself. Step 2, start resisting that pressure to optimize every single second of your life. And from there, it's about turning outward. That means collective action, demanding real structural change, and building coalitions to fight for it together. Ultimately, Frieden's message is really one of hope and continuity. This isn't some brand new fight we have to start from zero. It's the next chapter of a revolution that has already, literally, changed the world once. And it can do it again. The work just isn't finished. And so, Frieden leaves us with a really powerful, provocative question. She lays out the problem, she shows us the structural causes, and then she hands the mic back to us. Her core message is all about agency. Look, these systems were built by people, and that means they can be changed by people. The story of this unfinished revolution is still being written. The real question is, what part will you play?